Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, July 27th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses technical charts within your decision-making process as a trader, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to make good decisions as a trader, then this will be a video for you. And real quick on that note, if you do enjoy what you hear as I go through the video, just keep in the back of your mind that I am offering a free live class this week that you can get signed up for. So if you're watching on YouTube, just down in the description box, there's a link you can click on. Or if you're watching at claytrader.com, then somewhere right around the video, there'll be an area that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, just keep that in the back of your mind. If you're liking what you see, if you're starting to kind of realize, okay, yeah, there is some good value here with this tool to make good decisions, then like I said, just keep that in mind that I am offering a free live class. First one here, ticker symbol BTBT, and came to life in a very, very big way today with all the crypto news out there. It does make sense, but you can see right here, volume came pouring in, mainly the afternoon. I mean, it already gapped up earlier on in the day, but then you look in the late morning, afternoon, and the volume just stepped it up a whole nother gear, and up it's gone. Now, the tricky part with this one is you don't want to chase the price, and you don't want to, let FOMO take over, fear of missing out, and then get a really bad entry point. But it's always a tricky game because, yeah, who knows? If this momentum keeps up, maybe it'll just keep going straight up. That's always a possibility too. But you do have to weigh the factor of, well, this thing started off the day basically down at $5, and now it's, approaching potentially a 100% gain in a single day if it can get up to 10. So like I said, and it's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of strategy. But like I said, with big movements like this, the key dynamic here is that it's moving big. And as traders, that's what we want. We want volume, we want volatility, and this one is giving us it. But if, you're more so a pullback person, then right here, a very interesting level comes there at $7.75. And if the price were to come down to that area, kind of behave like that, then what you would have here from a technical point of view is, and I'm just roughly putting this in here, but you'd have something, give or take, that looks like that, which if you put the golf hole down there, would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So like I said, if there is some sort of pullback, and then if it can start to stabilize out, you could get the formation, like I said, of a very solid bullish pattern. But as of right now, given the price has essentially just gone straight up, there's always just that risk of, okay, am I chasing? Am I buying the top? And you very well could be, especially, like I said, when it's up almost 100% here. But like I said, any sort of pullbacks here and consolidations going into Tuesday here could present and, really create a good, solid technical pattern. So let's see how this one plays out on Tuesday. Next one here, ticker symbol TAL. And this is one of these Chinese education stocks that have been getting absolutely destroyed. And it's become one of those scenarios where it feels like basically nothing will ever go up again for these. Like they're just going to go straight down. And I've learned, and I'm saying this half jokingly, but half serious, when it feels like the price will never, ever, ever go back up, that's when it's really worth at least keeping an eye on. Now, I'm not saying you just randomly throw your money into it, but that's where we're getting here is I think that this thing's got to at least have some sort of kind of a take a breath type bounce. Now, maybe that never comes. Maybe this goes straight down, which is why having some sort of form of, confirmation, if you will, is always important. So the level that I'm very curious about is that trend line right there. Can the price break through that trend line? And if it does that guarantee anything? Of course not. But in my opinion, if it can, does it at least make it a valid and rational thought to have of, hey, you know what? Maybe that's the start of something bigger where it's at least going to get some sort of bounce. And if it does bounce, just given as much of it's been beat down, you could have a very nice little turnaround. And like I said, by no means am I saying it's going up there to close the gap. I'm not even saying it'll go back up there and test those highs here. But I mean, even if it gets halfway up that distance, when you're looking at, sub $10, those percentages can add up very quickly. But also, to be fair, maybe this bleeding is just going to continue. Maybe it's just going to keep dropping, which is why, in my opinion, at least, it's smart to have some sort of kind of confirmation indicator to kind of confirm of, okay, yeah, it is actually starting to show enough strength to make a move. And in my opinion, that move would be based around that trend line there. But like I said, that doesn't guarantee anything. But at that point, at least it's not some sort of just rational or it's a rational area, not some sort of random area where you're just throwing your money in. But yeah, let's see if this is any sort of bottom forming. And if so, if it can start to turn around, show some strength, get a break of that trend line, and it could be a very interesting scenario. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC. And I will say next step is complete. What is that step? Well, twofold, really. So let me extend this out because I talked about this trend line previously about how, okay, the price started to bounce, but let's see if the price can stay above that trend line. And it has. It's nicely above that trend line. So that's why I say, okay, from that angle, completed. The next thing that was completed is the price has now gotten back up above 38.75, which if you watch past top 10 videos, I've been talking about that as a key level of resistance. So that's also where this update needs to come into play, just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see the MACD support. So like I said, that's secondary thing that's now been accomplished. So overall, very good start to the week. Now, the next big thing on the item checklist, if you will, all about that pink line there, which I've talked about in past videos too. The very well-known, the very famous 200 period moving average, which has in the past prevented the price from really building any sort of momentum. But the price is now definitely within striking distance. Current value of that is right up there around, we'll call it $40.85. So 40.85 will be public enemy number one. But as far as, like I said, those check boxes are concerned, had a great day. Check box number one stayed above the trend line. Check box number two broke up above and stayed above 38.75. So let's see if that next check box can get completed on Tuesday in terms of breaking that 200 period moving average. Next one here, ticker symbol RIOT, and this is a stock that used to get talked about all the time, but really kind of just fell into the crevices of the market. People forgot about it in some senses, but no more. Today, the volume came pouring back in. Again, one of these with all the crypto news out there, especially Bitcoin, it makes sense. So this one is definitely back to life, and now it's just a question of, well, where are some of these key levels at to move or to keep an eye on moving forward. So as far as pullbacks are concerned, along the same lines of the BTBT conversation, you don't want to chase. But the good news here is this one has, kind of started to level off here. But if you are looking for more of a deeper pullback, an interesting area sits right there around $32.50. And another area of support, if, like I said, a bigger type pullback occurs, would then be down there right around $30.85. So keep your eye on those couple of areas for support, like I said, if the price does pull back. But, I mean, if the price is going to continue on up, first key level that stands out now, which I think is right where the price struggled today. Yeah, right around $34.75. You go back here and you can see that was a former area of support. So classic example of a support, then turning into resistance there, and then once again, resistance right there. So $34.75 will be that key breakout point to keep this momentum going right now. But no doubt about it, very nice way to start off the week. The week is young, still 4 days left, so let's see how this one continues to play out. Next one here, ticker symbol TYME, and I definitely had to think, do I want to keep this one on the list? Because the last time I was looking at it, the chart was looking like this. So I was planning on saying, hey, you know what? You have a nice little uptrend right here, consolidating out. So maybe there's going to be some sort of move to the upside. But then it actually did the exact opposite, close at the low of the day. So does that mean that the chart's totally destroyed? I'm not going to go that far, but has the chart lost a lot of its attractiveness? Has it kind of become yeah, it absolutely has. But who knows? Maybe this is just a faulty pullback here. Maybe this thing will, decide to turn itself around. But yeah, the last basically hour of the day has really shifted the appearance of the chart and, changed things up quite a bit. And in my mind, really the only, rational kind of from at least the risk reward standpoint perspective is got to let this price pull back some more to the top part of his previous breakout channel, which was down there around $1.20. Because at $1.20, that's kind of the line in the sand, meaning the price can either back test and then bounce from that breakout, or it can continue on down. If it continues on down, then at that point, it's quite literally putting the price right back to where it started. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that absolutely explode upwards and then go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power. Now, to be fair, maybe this thing doesn't even come down to this $1.20-ish area. But in my mind, the price is just too much in no man's land right now. So I'm not quite sure what you're supposed to do with that. But yeah, I totally understand if you think I'm crazy for putting this on the top list, right now after the big pullback here. But like I said, I'd planned on it and then it got crazy, but I'm going to continue to just, we'll keep an eye on it and see if this is maybe just a faulty pullback here. But it very well could be the beginning of the end, but we'll see. Next one here, ticker symbol DIDI, and this is another one for you loyal followers of the top 10 list that I've been tracking, and I think we might finally have it, because check out what we had here this morning. Big gap down, so it was looking like once again everything is just going to be terrible, but then the price bounced and it went sideways. Now let me be very clear. Does this action guarantee for sure that this is the bottom and that there's going to be a bigger move to the upside? Absolutely not. No such thing as a guarantee. In my opinion, at least, is that at least a valid and rational thought to question that, hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, this thing has finally bottomed out here enough to at least produce some sort of bounce in the upwards direction. In my opinion, yeah, it's at least a valid thought to think that way. And the area here that, stands out to me is going to be that trend line right there. So there's still more work that needs to be done. I mean, that's great that it's bounced up here a little bit, but in my opinion, at least that's not enough to really justify anything. But if the price can work its way upwards and then get a break through that trend line, does it guarantee anything? No. And I realize I keep repeating that, but I want everybody to just be very clear that there is no perfect tool out there, but the goal of charts is to help us to make not random decisions. So to buy at a break there, that's by no means random. That would make sense. There's a trend line that's going down. If it breaks the trend line, then hey, you know what? Maybe that's a sign that the bulls are starting to come back in. But to me, that's what it's all about. That trend line right there, but very interesting day to day, and we'll see if it is a leading indicator of maybe a bigger bounce to come. Next one here, venturing down in the world of penny stocks, ticker symbol LCLP. I've done this one before, and it was looking like this thing was pretty much over. The price that just started to drift. And then while all that was going on, volume dropped off quite a bit. But then today, all of a sudden, that opening 30 minutes, massive volume surge, price behaved very, very nicely. And then basically the rest of the day, things just kind of calmed down. But it's the point is, well, where do they calm down? Well, much, up higher, up much more further than where the price had currently been down there. So in other words, have ourselves a nice pattern here headed into Tuesday. So a good old-fashioned bull flag. Maybe you can, well, no, I think that's a bull pennant. Whatever you want to call it, that, the name of the pattern is not the important part. The important part is price surged upwards on big high volume and then consolidated during lower volume. And as any textbook would tell you from a volume analysis standpoint, that's what you want to see. You want to see volume drop off during consolidation. So really all eyes are on this: is can the price actually get the move up through 4 cents? That's going to be the main battleground. That's essentially the top part of the pattern right there. And just to illustrate things, as you can see, in past history. Now, past history is obviously not a guarantee of future results, but point here being is this thing can move, and it can move very, very quickly. So does that guarantee it'll happen again? No. Is it at least valid to think that if this can break up through 4, that it could spur on quite a bit more momentum and movement? Yeah, it's absolutely valid to think that way. Now it's just a question of, will it happen? Well, let's see what happens over the next couple of days. Next one here, ticker symbol NAOV. And just like, what was that? I think TYME, this little bugger ruined the formation right during that last 30 minutes. Now, and the reason why I'm still doing it is just because does one 30-minute candle ruin an entire chart? It doesn't. But, I mean, going into that final 30 minutes, you had this great area of support right there. And all of a sudden, the prices, technically speaking, dropped slightly below it. But again, it's still well within the range of it. But point here being is that's going to be the first dynamic that you'll want to pay attention to, is making sure that this isn't the start of something much bigger. And, that should be pretty straightforward. If all it does is continue to bleed and bleed and bleed, well, at that point, you have confirmation that, yeah, this was unfortunately, the start of a much bigger breakdown of this pattern. But if it all of a sudden just at least starts to go sideways and hover around there, well, then at least this pattern is still in play, which is a very interesting pattern, with the key level of resistance now being right there around that trend line right there. So we'll see what happens with it. And this one has proved that it can move, and it can move quickly. So if the price can, stabilize out, make move up to that trend line, and then get the break, am I saying it's going to, launch up to 350 again? Maybe not go that far, but I mean, what happens even if it just got to $3? That's, from a percentage standpoint, that could still be very respectable. But this all does assume that you have risk management protocols in place, because if the price all of a sudden, goes like this and just rolls back over, you don't want one of the people that holding as it, just, breaks to the downside. So, I mean, this setup, very minimal risk, assuming you know how to manage risk, assuming you know how to construct a risk-based plan, but with a whole lot of potential upside if you get the breakout and the breakout keeps going, which is what makes this pattern attractive, is the minimal risk compared to the potential upside. So we'll see what happens with it on Tuesday. And once again, NXTD. So this has been a theme here where a lot of my charts that were taking very, very nice shape have completely, seemingly fallen apart. But this is one where, just like TYME, have a pretty straightforward kind of line in the sand. Right here, this former breakout spot, which follows the same logic at 85 cents. Either this thing is all of a sudden going to pull back here, bounce off the previous breakout point, and then potentially create a nice little trade, or it's just going to go down here and continue on down, which at that point puts the price literally right back to where it was. So as I established on that previous one, price movements that go back to where they were, especially after a monster move upwards, yeah, basically no strength, pump and dump. You can call it whatever you want. And I'm not calling this a pump and dump yet, because to be fair, price could still come down there and bounce off, and then that would put in a higher low there and a higher low compared to there. So you could potentially still have some stair steps constructed here. But yeah, that last 30 minutes is not offering up too much confidence at all. But it's also, the market sometimes likes to be sneaky, likes to act like it's all over, and then all of a sudden, just like that, the price turns itself around. But as always, got to be very careful with these, because maybe this is just the beginning of a much bigger dump. So that's why risk management matters so much. But yeah, another one of these where I was thinking here, it's going to be talking about a good bull pennant pattern. And then all of a sudden I get this disaster. But who knows? Sometimes these disasters, like I said, can all of a sudden turn around. Next one here, ticker symbol SOS, and did this one last week. Things basically fell apart, and kind of seemingly was game over, especially on that day right there. Very, very low volume on Friday, but then today volume came back in, and this afternoon I did the exact opposite of some of these stocks we were looking at. Came to life and then just continued to grind back upwards, which has now set up a very, in fact, I'm curious, is this level showing up at all other times? Yeah, it looks like it has. So a very well-defined area of resistance right here. give or take right up here around the $3.15 mark. You go back through the history of the chart, and you can see right here, 315, generally speaking, has a price congestion point right there, price congestion. And then today, right there, right where the price got rejected from. But the good news here is that the price has returned back up to that area. Yeah, sure, it got rejected, but at least it's within striking distance again. And you got to think that a lot of people are watching that area, and lots of people are watching the same areas and wondering the same thing. Call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, can certainly produce some big movements. And, you know, maybe we have here, and maybe you would disagree, and I don't think I'd put up much of a fight, but maybe a poor man's cup and handle. So here's the cup. So maybe it pulls back a little bit more, you know, whether it be all Tuesday or maybe Tuesday morning, and then comes back up there and gets the break of that. So like I said, interesting cup and handle, loosely speaking, but the whole premise is based around the fact that the volume is poured back in. The price reacted very nicely with it this afternoon. Not just a question of can the price make another move up to 315 and get the breakthrough there. Let's see what happens on Tuesday. And then once again, before I go and wrap things up, just a friendly, quick reminder that I do want to personally invite you to get signed up for the class. So if you like what you heard, and if you can start to see the value of how technical charts can be used to put trade plans together that aren't random, that have logic behind them, then like I said, it'll be this Thursday, July 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Just remember the Eastern part. So get signed up for that, and you'll learn about the philosophy of charts, why they work, how they work, and how they should be used to build consistency. And then as far as this top 10 video is concerned, if you'll enjoy this format, if you want me to keep making these, then let me know. And you can do that very easily. Hit the like button, leave a basic comment below. But doing those two things, even if it's just thumbs up emoji or a thanks, but hitting the like button and leaving a very basic comment communicates to me that, you know, these top 10 videos are worth my time. And as long as I know it's worth my time, then I'll keep on making them. And like I said, just communicate that to me with hitting the like button and leaving a comment down below. And then also, like I said, if you want to learn more about charts, then hopefully you decide to get signed up. But hopefully everybody had a good start to the week. And yeah, go get signed up for the class.